On this week's episode of Local Matters, we go on the local scene to learn about Remembrance Park, an interpretive memorial planned for a small parcel on Coles Hill in Plymouth. Keith updates us on government stories you may have missed. Julie interviews Connie Melahoures, president of the Plymouth Taskforce to End Homelessness. An all-new Apps Untapped looks at Imdb, and we bring you events and resources in our South Shore towns. I'm Elizabeth Shanahan-Jewett. Let's get started. Coles Hill in Plymouth will be the site for Remembrance Park, a collaborative legacy project planned by Pilgrim Society, Pilgrim Hall Museum, Plymouth 400 Inc., and the Horsley Witten Group. Acknowledging 400 years of courage and survival, this public memorial will honor three historical events: the Great Dying of 1616 through 19 that decimated the Wampanoag people, the first winter of 1620 through 21 when half the Mayflower colonists died of sickness, and the coronavirus global pandemic, which has taken millions of lives and disrupted life as we knew it. The park will feature places of learning and contemplation, historical panels, and native plantings to provide both context and a message of hope. The first steps began with archaeology conducted by the University of Massachusetts Boston Fiske Center for Archaeological Research in 2021. The local scene was there.
I label myself first and foremost an anthropological archaeologist, which means I focus on the human aspect. And often, especially when I'm working on European sites or anything from 18th, 19th, 17th century European, I start to put myself in their shoes a little bit. I try to envision what life was like for them, what they were experiencing.
We try and really work with the students about how we think about this as ethical archaeologists, as practitioners who really are trying to have an honest commitment to descendant communities. And here in Plymouth, I've never worked anywhere where so many people really felt like a connection and a stake in what we were doing as archaeologists, a connection to this history, both Pilgrim descendants and also, Wampanoag descendants who feel a really kind of intense and very personal connection to the history that we're trying to interpret. So it's a really important kind of ethical issue for us as we think through our responsibilities to take this, seriously, professionally, and with outreach to the community so they understand what we're engaged in.
So we have been finding evidence of 18th century houses, we have been finding Victorian deposits, possible garden, and we have been finding evidence of native individuals possibly occupying this site before, which is very rare for this area, especially because Plymouth has been so utilized by people for so many years and so many centuries. We found ourselves a little sliver of intact soil, which could really help us tell more of the tale of the Wampanoag or any other native peoples that could have been here before.
We're on a National Historic Landmark, so Coles Hill already recognized as one of the most kind of important, significant places in America. It already has that history. The planning here is to add a kind of a Remembrance Park component to that. An incredibly beautiful idea.
Pilgrim Hall Museum is planning on taking this last little piece of undeveloped Coles Hill and creating a memorial that's relevant to us today, but also is a really important commemoration of our very deep and long histories here.
This park is going to remember not only the native people who died in the plague, we're also commemorating the pilgrims who passed in the first year. Half of their contingent of 102 passengers died in that first year. And then we're also commemorating 2020 and the lives lost to COVID-19, a worldwide pandemic that we could never have anticipated, but it is part of now our history of the 400th anniversary.
This is so important to preserve and remember our histories because I really think it shapes our understanding of everything we do in life. And I think today our eyes are open to this a little bit more widely because we have actually lived through a very sort of traumatic history in our own way. We want to honor that. We want to honor what happened to those who lived here before us.
As both a grad student and as somebody that has worked in this field for several years, it's really exciting stuff. It's stuff that you don't come across every single day, and it's such an important part of our history, both those that were here before the colonists, the indigenous folks, those that were here in the 18th century, the 19th century. There's so many layers of this history, and I keep telling my students every single day, there's always something exciting that we're finding that just blows our mind and could retell part of history. That's really the heart of it, of what excites me about this place.
Archaeologists will issue a report analyzing the dig findings this year, and park construction will begin in early 2023. We'll continue to follow and keep you updated on Remembrance Park. To learn more, visit the Pilgrim Hall Museum website. Diversity and Inclusion for Community Empowerment was founded in 2019 in Massachusetts and is committed to helping foster a powerful sense of community and mutual cultural appreciation in our cities and towns. On Monday, April 25th, join volunteers from Dice and Duxbury Free Library Community Engagement Librarian Sam Correa for the free program, How to Get Involved in Community Anti-Racism Work. Anti-racism isn't just the absence of racism, which we all agree with, but also taking stock of and eradicating policies that contribute to unequal outcomes. During this fireside chat-style conversation, you'll discuss the importance of an egalitarian society and how and where to get started when it comes to doing anti-racism work in our communities. This one-hour program begins at 7 p.m. in the Landman Room at the Duxbury Free Library. Visit the library's website to register. The Plymouth Taskforce to End Homelessness is dedicated to finding permanent housing solutions for our neighbors in need and helping to identify and access the supportive services that can help. Julie Thompson spoke to President Connie Melahoures.
Today I'm very pleased to welcome Connie Melahoures, who's the Executive Director of the Plymouth Taskforce to Help the Homeless. Thank you so much, Connie, for being here. Can you tell me a little bit about your background and how you came to be into this position?
Sure. My career was in education, and I retired in 2003. And I was looking for other ways to give back or give to the community, and I wanted to find something that nobody else was doing. And as it turned out, it was discovered that there were no services for unhoused individuals in Plymouth. And it actually came to the forefront when an individual was crushed to death in a dumpster. So others and myself realized that we needed to do something. So in the fall of 2004, a group of us met together and we were looking into, well, how can we provide, firstly, emergency sheltering to get people off the street during the winter months. Mm-hmm. So we did a lot of research and tried to figure out how we were going to do this. And we discovered a program on the Cape, and we used that as a model, whereby they used churches as host sites to bring individuals in for the night, provide them with a meal, and then send them out. So we based our program on that. We started in the fall of 2000. It was December of 2004. We had like 3 or 4 churches to begin with, and so we began bringing them in off the street.
Wow. Okay, great. Good for you. So this has been going on for 18 years. This is wonderful.
Yes,
and you deal with individual homeless people versus families, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
The Coalition for the Homeless deals with families.
Okay. And your goal is to find permanent residence for these people. Now,
that's correct.
To that end, I know you've bought some property. So tell me about the different places that you now can house these homeless people.
All right, so we bought property in North Plymouth through the Community Preservation Act. We bought a duplex that had 10 rooms, so we were able to bring into those units 8 formerly homeless individuals along with 2 house managers. And then a couple of years later, we bought the old Quintal property on the corner of South Spooner and Court Street, which is right next door. So we have, a total of 13 units in which we house formerly homeless individual. And by the way, it is permanent housing.
Okay.
It is congregate housing. These folks share a bathroom and a living room. It's not a perfect ideal situation, but these people are off the street.
Right.
And in order to support that housing, we have subsidies provided to us by Father Bills.
Okay.
And there are 2 or 3 individuals who are not subsidized that provide us with 30% of their income.
Okay. So is the goal that this is where they stay permanently, or is there another
That's
goal
correct.
to get them somewhere else?
Well, it is permanent for those who can't go somewhere else.
Okay.
All right. We have had people move on from this housing into traditional apartments, whether it be senior housing or Section 8s.
Okay. Now, do most of these people have some kind of jobs, and is it more men than women?
Okay, so the property that we have, 2 of the units, or 8 rooms altogether, are for men.
Okay.
And then 5 of the units in the other house are for women.
Okay.
And some of them are young enough and able enough to work.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3 of them, and then the rest are really older and have some disabilities that prevent them from working.
And do they help with household chores, and do they kind of run the house themselves?
Well, we have a house manager who oversees them, and they take care of themselves. The only requirement is that they keep the common areas clean, and we do have a house cleaner that comes in once every couple of weeks to just clean those common areas. So those are just the units that we own, and then through Father Bill's Mainspring, there are a few other scattered site apartments that are subsidized throughout town.
Throughout the town of Plymouth. Now,
Yeah,
there
that's
must be, are there more homeless people than there are rooms available to house the homeless people?
We're always looking for additional property to buy and or rent. So the answer to that question is yes. But within the last couple of years, because of more subsidies coming through, we've taken from shelter like a total of 28 to 30 individuals off the streets.
Oh,
And the ones that we're seeing in shelter now are relatively new to homelessness.
Mhm.
So, our goal is to reduce the number of people that are actually on the streets. And the task force has been looking in conjunction with Father Bills, a piece of property that would be close to transportation, upon which we can build a building that would contain studio type apartments.
Sure.
And or a piece of land that has a building that could be renovated into such a project. So, and it's crucial that we find that location because there's ARPA money available to do building.
Right.
The American Rescue Act.
Yeah, right now there is, correct.
That's right.
Now,
Correct.
do you have any kind of funding from the state or the feds?
We do not. We're all self-funded, and we get the subsidies through Father Bills, which gets the money from the state and the federal government.
Okay, and I assume that you do fundraisers, or you have?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yep.
How can people support you?
We run a golf tournament every year, except for last year when we had to cancel due to COVID.
Yeah.
And this past August, actually it was a year ago. This past August, we had our best fundraiser ever. We raised almost $28,000
that's wonderful.
for our group. Yes.
That's
And then
terrific.
we have a lot of individuals who give us money. During the pandemic, when we had to house people in Pilgrim Sands because we weren't able to use the churches, we were able to get a lot of grant money and money from different organizations. So yeah.
Now, do you have access to using churches now? If it's
we do.
one night or 2 nights, that type of thing?
And we rotate week by week. All right,
With different
so
churches.
This season we have had 3 churches: First Baptist, Christ Church, and St. Mary's. And First Baptist does the most, and Christ Church is next. So yeah, we don't move from night to night. That's too complicated.
Oh, sure. And how long do people generally stay in one of those transitionary, like the churches, before that you find them a permanent place?
It varies. It depends on when the subsidies are available.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Towards the end of the season, 2 or 3 more individuals will be housed as of April 1st because the money's,
Coming in.
subsidies are there.
Sure, got it.
As I said, right now, the people in shelter are relatively new. We've had people who are considered chronically homeless. They've been homeless for a year or more, or have had 3 or 4 episodes of homelessness within the last 3 years. So it takes, it has been the funding and finding the locations to rent that has been the challenge.
Right. And once they're in there, you assist them with the basics, applying for aid if they get it, if they need counseling, if they need medical help. Do you assist
correct.
them with all of that?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you're
the
holistically
subsidized
helping.
ones more so. We have 2 or 3 people in our units who are not subsidized, but they're okay without. So yeah.
And do you have people volunteer and help you?
Oh yes. So for the emergency sheltering, we have 1 paid staff person provided by Father Bill's that stays overnight, and then we have a volunteer chaperone who stays overnight, and then we have people who volunteer to prepare and serve meals, and all of that happens through signing up through Meal Train Plus.
Yep.
And we never fail to get people to sign up for meals. Getting people to chaperone is more of a challenge.
Sure.
Because it is overnight.
Right. It's more of a commitment. Right. So we're going to put all the information about how to get in touch with your organization on the screen. Thank you so much for joining us today, and best of luck with this continued wonderful thing that you're doing for the future.
You're welcome. And thank you for having me.
Sure.
It's important that we get the word out.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. To learn more and how you can help, visit plymouth-taskforce-homeless.org. Abilities Rec is an inclusive recreational program offering unique activities and programs designed for all ages and abilities, including those with autism and other disabilities. On April 20th, join Abilities Rec at the Reed Community Center in Kingston for April Vacation Fun Day. Kids aged 7 through 10 are invited to play Drums Alive, Bounce and Boogie, Game On, and much more from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Space is limited, so registration is required. Visit kingstonrec.com to sign up. Next up is Keith Hughes with an all-new Snapshot.
Welcome to Snapshot, where we take a local look at the government stories that you may have missed. To address hiring challenges faced by employers due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the state has announced a new initiative to help stimulate economic recovery through workforce development. The Hire Now program provides funding to eligible Massachusetts employers who hire and retain Massachusetts residents. Employers can apply for a $4,000 per employee grant to cover training costs or as a signing bonus for new employees. The program includes employers in the for-profit and nonprofit sectors, is currently active, and runs through December of 2022. Employers can learn more about the program and how to apply at mass.gov/hirenow. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a devastating effect on the arts sector of our economy. The Mass Cultural Council is looking to collect economic impact data from Massachusetts artists, cultural sector workers, and cultural organizations from March 1st of 2021 through February 28th of this year. As an independent state agency, the MCC is funded primarily through public resources, with the state legislature working on finalizing bills and the state budget that could impact the cultural sector. The data that is collected will help with efforts to advocate and inform about how the pandemic has affected those in the cultural arts community. The deadline to participate in the survey is April 15th. Find out more at massculturalcouncil.org. The Future of Work Commission released its final report last month. Co-chaired by Representative Josh Cutler and Senator Eric Lesser, the report reflects in-person and virtual hearings held throughout the state and offers recommendations that the state government, colleges, universities, and businesses can use to increase success for workers of the future to find fulfilling employment. The 53-page report looks at how education and training will need to change for the jobs of the future and how future workers will need a support system that offers stability in the areas of housing, transportation, and childcare. You can find the full report from the Commission at Representative Cutler's website, joshcutler.com. The town of Plymouth was recently awarded a $25 million grant for the reconstruction of Plymouth Long Beach. The proposed repair area will be from the southern end of the day parking area to the north of the crossover. This project, led by the Army Corps of Engineers, will help protect Plymouth Harbor and stabilize the area that has suffered from the effects of coastal storms and erosion. The town of Kingston will soon add a brand new ladder truck to its fleet. You can watch the progression of the build of the truck through daily progress pictures on the town's website, kingstonma.gov. Thanks for watching this edition of Snapshot. I'm Keith Hughes, and we'll see you next time.
A kitchen herb garden is one of the wonderful ways to supply your culinary concoctions fresh herbs for seasoning. And the Pembroke Council on Aging, together with Therapy Gardens, is offering a fun aromatic herb gardens workshop on April 13th at 2 p.m. You will create your own herb garden, learn more about herbs for flavorful cooking, and growing and drying herbs. You'll leave the class with the herb garden and your choice of a seasonally available plant. Call 781-294-8220 to register. If we can say something positive about the pandemic, it is that many of us have immersed ourselves in outdoor activities because of it and recommuned with nature, which is a great thing. Not so great is the growing threat of tick-borne diseases. It is not your imagination. Our changing New England landscape and the unique biology of these tiny arachnids has increased the proliferation of these little creatures. Entomologist Blake Dinius and the Plymouth Public Library invite you to the educational workshop, Building Backyard Habitat, What Makes Ticks Tick, on April 23rd at 10 a.m. Together, you'll look at the unique anatomy and physiology of ticks, traits which allow them to thrive in some locations, like New England, and the role tick hosts like mice, deer, and other animals play. Blake will also explore the effectiveness of host-targeted tick control and designing your backyard landscape to keep ticks out of your yard. Bring your questions for this event in person. With the right knowledge and tools, all tick-borne diseases are preventable. Visit the library's website to register. Moonrise Cinemas in Plymouth and Imdb are bringing back their monthly Moonrise Marketplace. On Sunday, April 24th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., browse unique items from over 70 local artists and vendors at this family-friendly open-air market. There will also be food and beverages available to enjoy, and you'll probably run into friends and people you know. Shopping local builds community. For vendor space and availability, email inebriart@yahoo.com. If an actor has been in a TV show, movie, video game, or even has some obscure online streaming content, you can find a profile on them on IMDb. What else can you find on this online database? Tiff breaks it down for us next on Apps Untapped.
Don't go in there! Look behind you! Ah! Oh, hey, you're back! I feel like it's been forever. Excuse me, just a second. Sorry, you just got me finishing up a movie. Lately, with the cold weather, all I wanted to do is watch movies. I'm obsessed, but it's getting to the point where I feel like I'm in a movie.
Tiff.
Don't scare me like that! Max, why do you have blood on your face? Why do you have a knife?
Just cutting my burger.
Hey, Max!
Don't scare me like that.
Why do you have ketchup on your face?
Huh.
I can't believe you're leaving. I'm gonna miss you so much.
I'm just going on vacation for a week. You're going to be fine. I'll see you when I get back. Okay?
Farewell, friend. Farewell.
Tiff, can I have my fan back?
Thanks, man. All right, so maybe I should cut back, but I love movies, and there is nothing better than using one of my favorite apps to keep me in the know of all things Hollywood. So today we are gonna chat about this little app called IMDb. IMDb, or International Movie Database, is an amazing source for movie, TV, and celebrity information. You can look up movies, watch trailers, get showtimes for movie theaters, and there's a lot to cover, so let's get into it. The app has 4 pages: homepage, search, video, and profile. Usually, an app's homepage doesn't have a lot on it, but IMDb's has everything. You can get movie and TV show recommendations, fan favorites, picks based on genre, movies that are in theaters, top box office movies, what's coming soon to theaters, celebrities who were born today, and what celebrities are trending. Which is a great way to explore movies you may or may not have heard of. Or if you and your wife can't figure out which movie to watch and you end up arguing over whose turn it is for like 30 minutes.
Hey!
Hi, Bubs. Did I just pocket dial you?
Yep.
Sorry. Oh yeah, guess who's sleeping on the couch tonight? This is my favorite function on this app. You ever have that moment when you're watching TV or a movie and that guy pops up from that thing you watched 3 weeks ago and his face looks so familiar, but you're like, what's that guy's name? Well, there's an app for that. This one. You can go to search, type in the movie or TV show, go to the cast, and boom, you found that guy. You can look up actors, check out their filmographies, watch clips of past works, see the awards they've won, find out some cool trivia, get quotes of wise things they've said, and view their personal details like their birthday. I happen to share my birthday with Anne Bancroft. Do you know who Anne Bancroft is? The Graduate? Cuckoo, Mrs. Robinson? Oh boy, let's move on. When you search for a movie or show, you can get the film's cast, where to watch it, more movies like it, clips, behind-the-scenes images, reviews, other projects from the director, and believe it or not, much more. Pretty swanky, right? The video page is pretty sweet. You can watch trailers, interviews, what's going on in the world of Hollywood, and a slew of other things. So essentially, you can watch things about things you are going to watch. Mind blown. The profile page is all about you. What you like, what you have watched, your favorite celebs. You can actually put in things you've watched to keep track. It's a good way to have a list, so when your friends ask for recommendations, you can be like, I watched this sick movie about this space war where a girl with donuts for hair gets taken by this guy who breathes weird, and then there's these swords that glow and there's lots of fighting and explosions. Yep, that was a real conversation. Star Wars. Who's talking about Star Wars? Now that you know all the parts of IMDb, let's talk tips. To get the most out of the IMDb, build up your profile. Enter what movies you've watched, add to the watch list, review movies. That way the app has more information as to what you like and can give better recommendations. Let the app get to know you and you'll be fast friends in no time. Watch your info. Though IMDb actively gathers information from and verifies facts with studios and filmmakers, much of their information is submitted by people in the industry and visitors. Yep, people like us. That being said, take everything with a grain of salt like you should with the rest of the internet. I have to say, I've been using IMDb for years, and I would give it like a 90 to 95% accuracy rating. So now you got the lowdown on how to be up to date with all things Hollywood, because movies and TV shows and all other forms of art are going to keep us from pulling out our hair while we get through these weird times. Just goes to show you how important art is and how it has the ability to bring us all a little closer. Just not too close, still a pandemic. This has been Apps Untapped. It's been great chatting with you. Be well.
Thanks, Tiff. And thank you for watching this episode of Local Matters. Visit the local scene on YouTube, social media, or our website for more of what's good and good to know in our community. From all of us at PACTV, have a safe and happy week. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. We are grateful for your attention. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe to the local scene here and share everywhere. Thank you, friends.